Hello everyone, it's me, Jonas, and today we're doing a video that I've always wanted to do, and that is my Premier League predictions for this season. We're going to be using a tier list for this. We're going to decide who is going to be rock bottom and go all the way to the top to predict who is going to be the Premier League champion of the 2023-2024 season. Without much further ado, let's just start. And 20th place and rock bottom of the Premier League, in my opinion, is gonna be Sheffield United. Sheffield United is a newly promoted side. They got second in the Championship last season, and instead of improving their squad, they downgraded their squad for whatever reason. They sold NDI to Olympique Marseille and Sander Berge to Burnley, their fellow promotion teams. It doesn't make any sense. Two of the best players have sold. They haven't brought anyone in. Sheffield United, what are you doing? Honestly, what are you doing? I don't think there's like any chance that they stay up. And so let's get to 19th place, because the same opinion belongs to this team. It's gonna be Luton. The only reason I put Luton above Sheffield is because it's new to them, the Premier League. Whereas Sheffield has been in the Premier League like 3 seasons ago, I think. Luton is their very first time. They come all the way from like the National League, like in the 5th division of English football. That's mad, in like 10 years, I think. So they're gonna be up for it, but their squad is definitely not good enough to stay in the Premier League. So that's why I think they'll go down in 19th place. I think both Luton and Sheffield are not gonna scrape 30 points. I think they both will end up in the 20s, like maybe high 20s, but I don't think they're gonna scrape 30 points. Then, in 18th place, this is one of the hardest predictions of this list, and there's like 7 teams or something that I think can get relegated if things start to don't look good for them. Of those 7, I think 3 are in very much trouble. And the team who is in most trouble, and who I think is gonna get relegated, is Wolverhampton Wanderers. Well, you probably are familiar with Wolves' situation right now. They sacked Lopetegui, their coach, like 4 days before the season starts. They haven't brought anyone of note in. They sold Ruben Neves, who I think is an amazing player. They sold him to Al Hilal, I think, in Saudi Arabia, or whatever team, I don't know. Yeah, there's a weird atmosphere around that club. I don't know if that's gonna work out for them this season. I think there's gonna be this season's Leicester's, a team who has been performing really well the past few years, but now they think burned out, and I don't think they're gonna survive. In 17th place, who are barely surviving and might be a surprise to you, who I'm gonna pick, it's gonna be Fulham. I think Fulham will be 17th. They're gonna have an awful season, I think. They're gonna be in the relegation zone pretty much all season long, or in and above the relegation zone at least. With Mitrovic probably gone to Saudi Arabia, I think it's gonna be a classic second season syndrome for Fulham. Yeah, that they overperformed, I think, last season as well. I think they're gonna have a bad season. They have barely survived because I don't know what will happen with Wolves. So yeah, Fulham is 17th. The other team that could be in a lot of trouble is Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest, we all know last season they bought in like 20 players or something. With no preseason, it was a hard job for Steve Cooper to get them in, to keep them in the Premier League, but he succeeded in it. And now those 20 players are all having a preseason, and it's about, can they click in that preseason? And if they do, I don't think they're gonna have any worries. And if they don't, they're in a lot of trouble. They might even get relegated. So it really depends with Nottingham Forest. I do like the signing of Anthony Elanga. I think Anthony Elanga is an amazing signing for them. I think he's gonna be one of the best performers of the bottom half table players. So yeah, I think Nottingham Forest and Fulham are gonna barely avoid relegation, just pipping out Wolverhampton, who's going to the Championship, in my opinion. Now we're going to the relegation outsiders, who might get in trouble, but their chances are way slimmer than the previous three I mentioned. In 15th place is gonna be Everton. Everton, they have survived like 2 seasons on the bounce. I think they're gonna do the same. I think they're not in much trouble as the previous 2 seasons though. They got Sean Dyche, who, I mean, he's Sean Dyche. He's not gonna get relegated, is he? So yeah, I think Everton is gonna have a calm season and end up in 15th place. In 14th place, I am going to put Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace is that team that's just mid-table. They're gonna get like 45 points, something like that. I mean, you know what you're gonna get with Crystal Palace. They got Roy Hodgson back. I mean, from the end of last season, obviously. And yeah, I don't know, it's Crystal Palace. Nothing really happened. Yeah, 13th place. I'm going with Bournemouth. Bournemouth is a team that some people may be scared of for the relegation, but I think what they've done this summer is amazing. They've brought in a coach from Rayo Vallecano in Spain who's done an amazing job there, and I think he's gonna do very well with Bournemouth. I love their transfers. They got Kerkez from is it Alkmaar, the left back. I think he's an awesome signing. They've got Traore for Sassuolo, Favre from Lyon, and Kluivert from Roma. I think there's some amazing signings, really. I'm interested to see what Bournemouth can do, especially with that coach. And I think they're gonna have a good season for them. I mean, 13th place for Bournemouth. Bournemouth is second smallest team in the league, except for Luton. So 13th place for them is gonna be very good. I'm very excited to see what Bournemouth can do, especially with that new coach. And then the last team that I think might have a slim chance at relegation is West Ham. I know they won the Conference League last season, but they still finished 14th place. They were not safe until like 5 games before the end of the season. And now they're in an even tougher competition in Europe from the Conference League. Now they're in the Europa League. And with selling Declan Rice, they're gonna have a pretty poor season again, I think. They're gonna focus on the Europa League. They're gonna bring in probably Maguire, James Ward-Prowse, maybe McTominay, who I think are good signings for like the short term. So I don't think they will get relegated, except if they're just like maybe a Leicester or Wolverhampton this season are gonna be burned out and just focus on the Europa League. But I think they have enough quality, especially in midfield with Paqueta, Soucek, and now with James Ward-Prowse and McTominay maybe joining. I think that's too much to get relegated, really. I don't think they're gonna get top half because I think especially their defense is a bit too awful for that to get into the top half. So yeah, 12th place for West Ham. And maybe they get on a run in the Europa League, who knows. Then in 11th place, who I think shouldn't be worried about relegation, but is also not gonna get into Europe, is Brentford. Brentford in 11th, that's amazing for them. I mean, I think they got 9th last season, 11th this season. They got Tony on a 6-month ban, that's gonna be tough for them, but I like the signing of Collins from Wolverhampton Wanderers, the centre back. I think he's gonna do well. I think Brentford's, yeah, just 11th, not really much to talk about. I think they're not gonna plummet down and suddenly fight for relegation or survival, really. So yeah, 11th mid-table. Then in 10th, I'm going with Burnley. It took a while before I mentioned Burnley, but I think they're gonna have an amazing season. I think they're gonna finish 10th in the top half. And Vincent Kompany is a good coach. We saw what they did in the Championship. They got I think they got 100 points plus. They signed some good players. They have already some good players. Who did they got? They got Sander Birch, like who is I think a very good midfielder. I think Company, Burnley, they're gonna have a great season. Turf Moor is gonna be a fortress. There are gonna be some teams who don't want to travel there. They're gonna lose points. Some teams who will fight for the Champions League places who will drop points at Turf Moor. Burnley's gonna have an amazing season. It's gonna be weird seeing Burnley playing attractive football. That's gonna be weird. But I think they're gonna do well. They're gonna place in 10th. No Europe though, and no relegation fight. A lot of people think Burnley gonna get in a relegation fight. I have like 0% chance that they're gonna get relegated. I don't think they're gonna get relegated. There have to be something go horribly wrong for that to happen, in my opinion. In 9th place, I'm going with Tottenham Hotspur. I was so close in putting them in 11th, because just Tottenham, I think Tottenham are gonna be last year's Chelsea. Harry Kane is probably going to Bayern Munich, and I really don't like their remaining attacking options. So I mean, Heung-min Son maybe can bounce back. I like him as a player, but last season wasn't great. Can he bounce back this season? I don't know. I don't really rate Richarlison. They got in Madison from Leicester, who's gonna be a decent signing, and they got in Van de Ven, a Dutch defender from Wolfsburg, I think, who I'm a bit skeptical about. I don't know if he's gonna do well, and I really don't think Tottenham is getting into Europe. They got in the new coach, Ange Postecoglou, I think. Everybody is hyping him up, and I really don't know why. He won the league in Scotland with Celtic. Not like I'm pretty sure I can do that. Like, you know who else won the league in Scotland? Steven Gerrard. Yeah, where's Steven Gerrard now? Yeah, he's in El Ettifaqi in Saudi Arabia. So yeah, I don't think Postecoglou is gonna do a great job. He might even get sacked, honestly. He's gonna get sacked. I'm gonna predict he's gonna get sacked, like probably like February, March. I don't see Tottenham going into the top 7. Then in 8th place, I'm going with Brighton. Brighton are in the Europa League right now. I am interested to see what they can do there, but I don't think they can repeat what they did last season and qualify for Europe again. They got rid of McAllister, who's gonna be a tough miss. Maybe gonna get rid of Caicedo even. They're in 8th place. Brighton is in 8th place. That's still an amazing season, but not the same season as last season, I think. I think 8th place is gonna do it. 7th place, I have gone for Newcastle. I think Newcastle, if they think they can get in the Champions League again this season, they're just not. I think they're gonna drop off a bit. They did amazing last season. I think they overperformed last season. I don't think they can repeat it, especially with Champions League football this season. I think they're gonna focus on that. I think Champions League is a bit too high for them. I like their signings of Tonali and Livramento, but I think they're gonna fall short for the Champions League spots. In 6th place, I am going with Aston Villa. Aston Villa is, I think, gonna have an amazing season. They finished last season incredibly. They were like in the relegation zone, I think, when Unai Emery went in like, what was it, January, February, I don't know. They got on an amazing winless streak, and now they're in the Conference League. I like their signings. I like their coach. Who did Aston Villa get? They got Diaby from Leverkusen, who's gonna do amazing. They got Pau Torres. Like, Pau Torres is probably one of the best center backs from Spain, and Aston Villa got them. Like that's mad. That's just mad. I think Aston Villa is gonna get 6th in the Europa League. They're gonna probably be in the Conference League final, probably. Yeah, it's gonna be exciting for the Villains. 5th place. This is the second or maybe the first most difficult place to predict apart from the 18th place. And I think in 5th place is gonna be Manchester United. I think they're gonna barely miss out on top 4. I think they still qualify for Champions League, right? Like ignore ignore that there stands Europa League and Conference League there. I think 5th place in the Premier League also gets a ticket to the Champions League next season. I mean, I don't really like the new Champions League form, but that's talking about another subject here. Anyway, Man United. I don't gonna say here that that Man United has no chance of getting top 4. They do, but I think the teams who will finish above them have a better quality, have a better starting 11 than Manchester United. I love their signing of Andre Onana, the new goalkeeper. If David De Gea started this season, I would have been like, yeah, Manchester United is never gonna get in the Champions League spot this season. But with Onana, they definitely have a big chance to get there, but I think they're gonna miss out. They got Holland, the striker from Atalanta, who only scored 9 goals. That's a massive gamble from the Red Devils there. I don't think he's gonna do all that great. In 4th, I was so close in putting them 3rd, but in 4th is gonna be Chelsea. Chelsea had an awful season last season. They finished 12th. Why am I predicting them 4th? Because they got Mauricio Pochettino, who I think is an amazing coach. They signed some good players. I mean, we all know Chelsea. They spent like 600 million. They overspent way too much on their players, but they're still good players. They got in Nicholas Jackson from Villarreal, who I think is gonna be an underrated signing for them. I think he's gonna do good. And they got Nkunku, who is just injured for 4 months, and that's why I'm putting Chelsea in 4th instead of 3rd. Because I would have put them in 3rd if Nkunku was not injured, because I think Nkunku is gonna be top 3 striker, top 3 in the Golden Boot at least. I mean, not now, obviously, with his injury, but that was my prediction before he got injured. So, well, Chelsea in 4th. Yeah, I think they're gonna get into the Champions League places. They got no European football to worry about. I mean, I think they're even gonna, you know what, an extra prediction for you lot. They're gonna go win the Carabao Cup. Yeah, just an extra for you. Anyway, in 3rd place is going to be Arsenal. If you think Arsenal are going to win the league or challenging Manchester City, yeah, it's not gonna happen. I think Arsenal overperformed last season, and especially when the pressure gets to that club, I don't know what happens to that club, but they just crumble. I mean, their signings are okay. They signed Declan Rice for 100 million, who is, I think, a bit overrated, to be honest. 100 million for Declan Rice is a bit steep. I'm honestly thinking more of like 60 mil, but 100 million pounds? Nah, I don't think it's worth that. They got Timber, who I like, but yeah, I think they're gonna drop off a bit. They're not gonna be in the title race. I think they're just gonna be just in 3rd. I was honestly predicting them to have a fight with United for 4th place, but with Nkunku's injury to Chelsea, I think they're gonna be 3rd. Who is gonna be champions? Is it gonna be Liverpool, who will challenge Manchester City, or it's gonna be the favorite Manchester City? Well, I don't want to do anything special here, but I honestly think Liverpool is gonna win the league, and the reason for that is I think Liverpool is getting severely underestimated here. People not remember, like, not last season, but the season before that, they almost won the quadruple. They were 1 point away from the Premier League, 1 game away from Champions League, and they played better in that Champions League final. Has anyone forgotten what a squad Liverpool has? I know they got rid of 7 midfielders, okay, but they still, with those 7 departures, they got 2 players coming in, with Alexis McAllister from Brighton and Dominic Szoboszlai from Leipzig, who are gonna revolutionize the Liverpool midfield. Liverpool midfield was by far the worst of the top 6. And now they finally have some creativity in their midfield. I think they're gonna do an amazing job. I think they're gonna feed their attackers with Mo Salah, Darwin Núñez, Luis Diaz, Cody Gakpo, Diogo Jota. That attack is amazing. With McAllister and Szoboszlai feeding them, that is just too much goals to ignore. I think they're gonna have the most goals by far. I think they're gonna win the league. The defense might be suspect, but I expect Van Dijk to step up. I expect Konate to step up. And they might get Lavia as well as a DM. They especially need a DM, but I think they're gonna get one. With Bajcetic, Elliott, Jones, even Thiago is still there. I think Liverpool, their squad is amazing. Well, City is gonna have a awfully similar season to last season. And you're now thinking, well, City won the treble. Why are so? How do you predict them to get second? Well, City started out slow in the Premier League last season. They only got in their gears around January. I think more of the same is gonna happen. They're gonna just start their gears in like the end of January. They're gonna probably win Champions League, to be honest. But they're now not fighting against Arsenal. They're fighting against Liverpool this season. And Liverpool, they know what it's like to be in high pressure situations, and Arsenal don't. And I think if Liverpool can get an Arsenal-like season, I don't think they're gonna drop off in the second half. And I think Liverpool will win the Champions League. City are the favorites, but I think they're gonna be dropping off like slightly because they got the treble. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. Let me know down below what prediction you think was a bit out of order. But so yeah, let me know what you think. Might be doing some more tier lists in the future, who knows. But yeah, see you around. Peace.